Welcome back to the Power Performances presented by Courtyard by Marriott. Ian Eagle along with Jason Horowitz. It's time to talk some NFL. You see him on Sundays, the NFL on CBS, the NFL Today. You hear him on Mondays on Westwood One. He's got his own show as well, Boomer Esiason. It's sprinkled throughout many markets across the United States, and he joins us right now here on the program. He is Boomer Esiason from CBS Sports. Boomer, how you doing?
I am doing great. Thanks for having me on, guys. Ian, always a pleasure to talk to you, my man.
It's great to talk to you. He's got Army-Navy coming up as well.
And I believe you are doing that as well.
Right? You're saying there was some cross-promotion.
Cross-promotion.
Yeah. Boomer, I'm just trying to get the word out. You know that.
Well, listen, I want to hear you get the word out of the Navy quarterback. That's what I want to hear. I want to hear you say that.
Did you get that email last night?
I got the email, so I want to hear you say it.
Sharing inside information here?
It was brutal, Jason.
Well, here it is. Yeah, well, it's 34 letters in his name, I believe.
I don't even want to think about it. It's already keeping me up at night right now, thinking about the idea that I got to say this guy's name on the air. We'll get into that, but let's talk a little bit about the NFL this past week. Indianapolis, New England. Everybody was building that game up. What did you take out of that Sunday night affair?
You know, I took out of it that I still think that the Colts have a flaw, and their flaw is that they can't stop the run, and I'm just wondering why New England stopped trying to run the football in the second half. And, you know, they played into the Colts' hands, and God bless the Colts. I mean, Raheem Brock made a great play on Corey Dillon, forcing the fumbles, stripping the ball out, a couple key interceptions off of tip balls. You know, those are all the things that are basically part and parcel to losing a football game, as we saw last week with all the turnovers that took place. You know, the teams obviously look back at those films, Ian, and they say, you know what, we just can't do that. So I think it was a gift wrap by New England because they got away from what I thought their game plan should have been. They should have tried to run the ball more, keep Peyton Manning off the field, but at the end of the day, you know, New England's still trying to win the game. They still have a chance to tie it there at the end. So it just kind of shows me that parity is definitely in full bloom in the NFL, and when you see the teams that are at 4-4 compared to the teams that are leading the divisions, they're just as good, if not better, and this will be a wild ride here the second half of the season.
Boomer, everybody talking about Peyton Manning for MVP, but I want to talk about a different team who's leading the division. Best pickup so far of the offseason was Drew Brees. What about talk for him as MVP? Because the Saints, without him, would probably be closer to 4-4, if not 3-5, don't you think?
No, I agree with you. And, you know, he's going to get a lot of sentimental votes now because I think everybody expects Peyton Manning to be this great. That's unfortunate for Peyton because he has set the standard so high that everybody expects the performance that we see week in and week out from him. But the Drew Brees story, to me, is more of a kind of a wild ride that he has been on since his last snap as a San Diego Charger in which he blew his shoulder out. I went down there about 3 weeks ago to interview him. And I'll tell you what, I mean, this kid's a winner throughout, in every sense of the word, because I asked him how many teams wanted him in the offseason. He said, well, he got calls to up to about 15 teams, but of those 15 teams, 13 wanted him as a backup. And he said, you know, I'm not going anywhere as a backup because I'm a starter and I can play in this league. And then he obviously visited Miami and then went to New Orleans. I think if the contracts would have been equal, I think he would have went to Miami. But Miami was trying to hedge their contract to him, and they held back some numbers, and they said, well, listen, if you really prove to us, then we'll give you the money that we think that you deserve. But they had to make a decision quickly because they had to make the trade for Dante Culpepper. And that's when Drew Brees called Sean Payton. They sat down, they talked, and he said, you know what, this isn't going to be a bad place for me. And it really has turned out to be a story that is kind of a storybook kind of thing going on here in New Orleans. So he's been great, and he deserves every accolade that's coming his way, and certainly at the end of the year when it's all over said and done with, he will be one of those players at the top of the MVP list.
All right, Boomer, we're going to head to the calls, and remember, if you want to speak with Boomer, 646-CBS-1000, 646-227-1000. Boomer, Julie from New York about the Colts. Julie, go ahead. You're on with Boomer Esiason.
Hi, I'm wondering if you think the Colts are the favorite to win the Super Bowl.
Well, Julie, right now they are. There's no question about it at 8-0. But as Tony Dungy said after last week's victory over the New England Patriots, listen, we got 8 more games to go, and a lot of things can happen. And it's one thing to be the best team in the middle of the season, but as Bill Cowher said last year, as his team was running through to the Super Bowl, he said, we might not be the best team, but we're playing the best. And we still have a lot of football left. A lot of injuries are going to take place, and a lot of things can change in a short time in the NFL. So while they are the odds-on favorite right now, I think we should all just be careful and not put anybody into the Super Bowl until they earn it.
Boomer, the Bears, overrated, overhyped. Which way do you fall on Chicago?
No, I think they are a really, really good football team, and I think that Rex Grossman's in a little bit of a valley right now. He's got to get his game cleaned up. He can't turn the ball over as much. If they don't turn the ball over, they win all their games. It's the turnovers are the great equalizer. We just talked about that. Miami, anytime you score defensive touchdowns like they did last week, your chances of winning as the team that's turning the ball over becomes pretty minute. So he's got to shore up his game. They're lucky this week because they will not see Osi Umenora or Michael Strahan in the Giants defense. So hopefully he can get his game straightened out. And I'm telling you, they'll be a tough out in the NFC playoffs, especially if they play at Soldier Field.
On the horn with Boomer Esiason here. You can get on the horn, 646-CBS-1000. Boomer, one of the things that you cover all the Monday night games, and one of the things that I want to know is, this is power performances. Is there anything in the NFL that is more unlike a power performance than the Oakland Raiders offense?
Well, we've seen two of them now, and in both of those performances, they haven't scored a touchdown or a point for that matter. So there's nothing. It's tough. It's tough watching, and everybody wants to blame the offensive line because Andrew Walter gets sacked a lot. But you know what? As a former quarterback, I'm going to pick up for this offensive line. The quarterback inspires his other 10 teammates. His quarterback knows when to get rid of the ball. The quarterback knows how to read a defense, and I think Andrew Walter is struggling. Now, is it all Andrew Walter's fault? Of course it's not. But I do believe that a quarterback can make a team better, and right now the second-year player out of Northern Arizona is not doing that. So they can only hope, and I know they're not hoping for this, but I think Raider fans can only hope that their team loses the rest of their games and they get a chance to draft Brady Quinn.
Yeah, I've got Denver, Oakland this week, Boomer. Thanks. That's a nice little plug.
Well, he's going to whine about it the rest of the afternoon, too.
Yeah, I know. Boomer, you're the best. We appreciate it. We'll be watching on Sunday. I'm looking forward to seeing you in a couple weeks, and continued success. Keep it up.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me on. Have a great day.
Boomer Esiason, CBS Sports, joining us here on the Power Performances presented by Courtyard by Marriott.
Yeah, and Boomer, he's all over the place. He knows NFL. He knows college football. He knows NBA.
He's a huge Ranger fan. Huge
he knows hockey.
fan.
I mean, Boomer knows everything.
Have you seen his general show?
Yeah.
Where it's all
the
sports?
one with Patrick Ewing where, Boomer's a large guy. Patrick made him look, small, to say the least.
Why were you looking at me when you said
Well,
that?
you were talking about Dante Culpepper making you feel small. Well, you were talking about Dante Culpepper earlier making you feel small.
All right.
Same type of thing.
Let's check out the emails.
Let's hit the emails here. Let's go to the first one. And the first, if you want to get in an email, it's right below us here, right here under this screen, cbssportsline.com/powerperformances. Let's go to the emails, and the first one comes from Tim in Wisconsin, and he writes, do one-loss teams like Notre Dame and Cal still have a shot at the BCS? And Tim, you know what? Anything can happen. There is still a month left of college football. We may not have more than one-loss team. Obviously, we're going to have one because of Notre Dame or because of Michigan. The loser of Michigan, Ohio State's going to only have one loss. But the rest of the teams in college football, they may lose again. Louisville may lose twice. They still have to play Pittsburgh, and they still obviously play Rutgers tomorrow. So we may only have one-loss team, and then those teams don't make a difference as far as Notre Dame or Cal. But everybody's got a shot. There's no doubt about it that everybody's got a shot to climb up the ladder.
Who would have thought that Rutgers, the Scarlet Knights, would play a role in the national championship?
Our cameraman is having a party back there.
He's proud of Jersey. Be proud of Jersey. You should be. Rutgers has burst onto the national scene this year, and it really is a great story. You're a college football guy living now in New York. This is not a college football town. So the fact that Rutgers...
It's not a college football part of the country, the whole east side.
The fact that Rutgers could get the kind of attention that they're getting right now shows you that they've come a long way.
Yeah, I can't pinpoint a game on the East Coast, college football-wise, that will be bigger or have more impact on the national scene than tomorrow night's game. All right, let's go to the next question. From you, the users, remember, right below us, if you want to send us an email, there's a box right below us here in this video player. Kimberly from Vermont, she wants to know, how much will Michael Strahan's injury affect the Giants? Boomer hit on it, and he said it's going to really affect the Giants.
And no Osi Umenora to throw that into the mix as well. Giants have the big game against the Chicago Bears. And the question now for New York, offensively, they should be better than they are. That's my belief. The way Tiki Barber has run the football this year, Plexico Burress has to stay on the field. Although Shockey's not had a big season, we know that he's still a weapon, and Eli Manning is expected to take that next step. So a little more pressure now on the offense. Can they score and score consistently on this vaunted Chicago Bears defense? That'll be one of the huge storylines over the course of the weekend in the NFL.
The question with the Bears defense is Brian Urlacher going to be healthy enough to be as much of an impact as he is normally, because he does have that toe injury. Now, it's not as bad as they feared, but that is still a concern for the Chicago Bears. And Eli Manning, last year he ended the season with a lot of interceptions. This year he's still averaging more than an interception per game. All right, we get together every week. We talk about what's going to make the show, what's not going to make the show. Well, here's what didn't make the show, but by not making the show, it makes the show.
Well, let me take the first one,
okay,
because I believed in this one. But, again, we all get together and come up with what the top power performances are of the week. Marvin Harrison was right there.
Yep.
Harrison in the marquee matchup of the week. Big effort. We haven't mentioned him a lot this year, which, that kind of goes along with his whole career.
Yep.
He just keeps putting up numbers. He's going to the Hall of Fame, one of the best receivers of all time. Had a big night in that win over New England. Yes, the defense made a statement, but so did Harrison for Indy's offense.
Yeah, he really did. 2 touchdowns and that amazing catch on the side of the end zone. If you haven't seen it, check out YouTube or something like that to see if you can find the play, because it was a tremendous play. All right, how about the next one that didn't make? It's just off the table. And how about the Arkansas Razorbacks? Just 1 loss, and folks, for Arkansas not to make the SEC championship game, they have to lose 2 of their next 3 games. The 3 games, home to Tennessee, which is off a very tough loss to LSU, as we talked about with Jamarcus Russell. Then at Mississippi State, it's a tough place to play, but they shouldn't have a problem. Then home to LSU. All they have to do is win 2 of those 3, and they will meet Florida in the SEC championship game. It would be the 3rd time the Razorbacks would make the SEC championship game.
Earlier, we talked about last season's Rookie of the Year in the NBA, Chris Paul of the Hornets. Well, right now, let's talk about the guy who is the favorite to win it this year. Brandon Roy, Portland Trail Blazers. You could just tell he's got it. The second he stepped onto the NBA floor, he belonged, and it showed. Right now, he's dealing with a left heel injury. We'll see whether or not that has any far-reaching effects for him. But early on, Brandon Roy is the pick for Rookie of the Year in the NBA.
Minnesota made a bad choice by trading him. I know they got a lot of things for him.
How about Boston?
Foy, but
Boston not picking him or Randy Foy.
Yeah, all kinds of problems there, but Minnesota needs shooters. They gave one away. All right, how about the Miami defense? And, Miami went into Chicago. The Dolphins were maligned. Nick Saban's team had 1 win. Folks, they have 2 wins now. It doesn't mean much, but they beat the previously undefeated Bears, and Nick Saban got the defense and the guys going. Jason Taylor, probably the angriest person in the entire city of Miami last week before the Chicago game, and he had an interception, took it back for a touchdown. They forced 6 turnovers. That's how you win a football game.
And finally, just off the table, back to college football, and Chris Paul's name pops up again.
Yeah.
His alma mater, Wake Forest. That's a basketball school, no?
It was. Not this year.
Big win over BC. Wake Forest, all of a sudden, making some noise on the gridiron. They've become one of the better stories in college football this season.
The Demon Deacons 8-1 for the first time in 62 years, if my math is correct. 1944 the last time, so a great story there. One more that's just off the table we didn't talk about, but the record was tied a couple nights ago. The Anaheim not the Mighty Ducks anymore, the Anaheim Ducks. 15 games, they have had recorded a point in each game in the win-loss column. They have not lost a game in regulation this year. That ties the 84-85 Oilers. So they have a chance to break that record this week. All right, folks, it's time for my top performance. And the question is, what is my top performance? My top performance this week, I'll have to look down here. It was the Colts defense. That's what my top performance was.
It meant a lot to you, clearly.
It was huge. A lot to choose from this week. The Colts defense, number 1. Tom Brady and the Patriots went into Minnesota the week before and destroyed what was a good Minnesota defense. They didn't do the same to the Colts defense, causing 4 interceptions from Brady, 5 turnovers overall. And at Foxborough, Indianapolis went in and got the victory, so the Colts are my number 1 power performance.
And for me, my number 1 power performance this week, Louisville. Brian Brohm. Right now, if you're looking at pro prospects at the quarterback position, Brady Quinn, number 1 from Notre Dame. I'd say Brian Brohm is number 2. He's going to play in this league. And I think he's going to be a starter in the league. He looks the part.
Yeah.
He looks the part.
He's
He looks like an
6'4",
NFL quarterback.
And he's got the unbelievable arm that a lot of quarterbacks that we're seeing in the NFL this year and last year, they don't have.
No, they don't have the cannon he's got.
He may come in as a backup, but folks, he's going to start in the NFL.
Agreed.
And I think he's going to be successful in the NFL. He may not come out though. He's just a junior and he's had some injuries. But it's that fact that he's had some injuries that may be the reason he does come out.
They win the national title, he's coming out.
Yeah.
He's not pulling a Matt Leinart.
No.
Leinart learned the hard way. His stock actually took a hit.
Yeah.
By staying in school, I think Braun would be wise to come out.
Yeah. Stories surfacing around Arizona, speaking of Leinart, that Pete Carroll may leave USC for Arizona. That happens every year. Pete Carroll's not going anywhere. That's just my take. That's my end of the show.
Mike Martz, his name has popped up as a possibility in Arizona.
He's not going anywhere either. All right, folks. That'll do it for the Power Performances presented by Courtyard by Marriott. Thanks for the calls. Thanks to Boomer Esiason, to my man Ian Eagle. I'm Jason Horowitz. Don't forget, next week and every week at noon, live on CBS SportsLine. Catch us in the archives. Or now, hey, we're on YouTube. We're all over the place. Catch us everywhere. Ian Eagle, I'm Jason. Take care.